Yeah, which like I think that's why I've always loved the podcast format because I think it's for in my brain it's more akin to like streaming, which I love to death. That's how I kind of reined in this, this way to like talk to a camera a little better. Because before I started streaming, before the pandemic, like I would be on camera for the Austin channel, and it wouldn't be the smoothest thing, even though I had already done stuff on my own YouTube channels in college and made hundreds of videos on tech and anime stuff. And it was that thing of like I definitely was more confident than some of the other people in the office, but it was also like I still had my struggles with it for having done it so much. And I think once I started streaming, I kind of realized like, oh, you know what? I'm not that far off, but through the practice of doing it every other day, I think I stream like 3 times a week or whatever for like a year straight. That's when I realized, one, that I really wanted to do this, that it was something that I wanted to personally tackle for myself, just as a goal. But also that just picking up on the skills of it, like as you mentioned, the trial and error, like things that I noticed that I did poorly. I think that trial and error really, really helped, solidify that. Yeah, I think I'm not that far off, but just picking up things along the way, watching myself stream, like watching the VODs and stuff, also kind of helped. Kind of figured out, yeah, like I get tired of watching myself, so what can I do to make this better?
There is nothing worse. I truly believe this. When you first start putting yourself on camera, and I've heard this from actors who are doing self-tapes. I've heard this from people who are up and coming, YouTube influencers, even folks that are, doing this on TikTok. There's nothing worse than editing your own voice and face. There is nothing worse than having to stare at yourself and be the most self-critical person in the room while being like, you sound stupid. You sound terrible. What's wrong with you? Yeah, and it's not true.
Here's the thing though, like it's going to sound a little bit like selfish and narcissistic, but once you can start enjoying it, once you start having fun watching yourself and the content being that good where you don't get that reflex anymore, that's when it starts to feel that confidence really starts oozing, right? Like you feel like you've really got it, and now you can really start tackling the creative things that you really want to do.
But do you say, is it reflex or reflux? Let's be honest, because sometimes I'm watching myself and I'm just like, oh God. Yeah.
But that's the thing is that I kind of mentioned this to some students that stopped by the office. It was the answer was for a different context, but something that I'm now preaching because I really had come to terms with this mentality of it is finding the art in everything that you do is very important, because I think ultimately the world has compromise everywhere to go round, right? You have to make tough decisions at every step of the way, or at least what's the phrase, kill your babies in order to you make the thing go forward or whatever.
Kill your darlings.
Kill your darlings. Please. I always say kill my babies, but yes, kill your darlings.
We'll go darlings, please, gosh. Let's
no murder here.
Just want to point out the Jason Nellis show does not condone the anyway.
But it's like one of those things of because especially with film students, right? With artists, the thing that I always come across is, and especially in the context of YouTube, it's I have to concede to the algorithm. I have to concede to how the system operates. And I feel like that takes away from my creativity. And that means that I'm going to be less of a person now. I'm like, no, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, I feel like when it comes to sustaining yourself for art, you need to find that compromise. But who's to say that the compromise isn't art in and of itself? I feel like if you find the art in the compromise and find ways to satisfy yourself in what you're doing, I don't think there's a problem. It might be a hard journey to find that and realize that, unless you're a prodigy, which most of us aren't. Right?
Well, but you do bring up a really smart point, which is often lost in the influencer conversation, which is to say, first of all, the people who hate the word influencer would probably also yell at me for that. But, it's art. It is art. It's meant to be a creative output, a creative expression, something that's coming from, you know, a part of somebody that, or flowing through, depending on how you feel about it, that is more than just staring at a camera and sort of speaking your mind. It's an expression of something that should be more than the sum of its work. And even if it's a review, even if it's an explainer video about a new Qualcomm microchip or whatever, that it's, if you treat it like it's art, and you treat it like it's creative expression, and you treat it like it's something that's, you know, genuine and loved in that way, you're probably going to be better off. And even if you're compromising that a little bit to fit the algorithm, you're probably going to be happier.